Hello, everybody. Welcome to Underground Examination. I'm Isaac Anderson, and right over here we have Mr. Justin Gambino. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing really awesome. So, Justin is a musician from Texas, and he's going to be here playing a few songs for us. But I wanted to ask him a few questions, so we give the information to you through me. So,
Ask away.
mostly it's just you guys getting the information. Justin, what was your first musical memory?
I would say my first musical memory was I was having some piano lessons, probably around the age of, I would guess that I was about 6 or 7 years old, and I would say that was the first. Other than the times that we'd go on like family vacations and we'd be like blasting the Beatles or some oldies, and everyone was using whatever they could find as a drum. We're all like, my dad's either beating the steering wheel or we're beating the dash or on our knees. So I would say that was some of my first memories with music.
Heard that.
Yeah.
Well, so we did say you were from Texas. So where are you from in Texas, by the way? Can you tell the people?
Yeah, so I live in a little town called Angleton, which is about 43 miles south of the big city of Houston.
All right.
So right down on the coast, about 10 minutes from the beach, which is
very nice.
I always like the beach.
Well, it seems like kind of a beautiful environment. How do you think that that kind of environment really kind of influenced your music?
So I mean, if you listen to some of my music, you kind of hear the inspiration from creation, and so I'm either talking about, like, there's one song where I was touring and I was looking at mountains and watching them turn to silhouettes during the sunset, or I would be leading worship for a local church right off the beach, and so like something about the beach and the waves and and just nature in itself is just really something that just inspires me, and so it's a big inspiration with my music.
Beautiful, man. So as far as like I know you've been playing music for quite some time, and it's very obvious, like you're very inspired, you're very passionate about what you do. But can you recall a moment that like you really said, yeah, this music thing is definitely something I want to pursue seriously?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say I was around the age of 15 whenever I first got my first guitar for Christmas. And, just like any other boy would do, like start writing songs about girls and just whatever, and just self-taught. But it wasn't until, it was even after the fact that I was leading worship in my local youth group at my church. It was even after that, and even after I left home, moved out of the house. It was 2010 whenever I was at work and some coworkers invited me over to this recording studio. And I remember leaving that night. They told me, bring my guitar. And they said, you want to record a song? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do one. So I just recorded a quick song like in 10 minutes, and just got this high from it. It was just an amazing feeling. And I remember leaving the studio that night knowing that music was going to be something that I did for the rest of my life.
Wonderful, man.
Yeah.
Well, you've done quite a number of different recordings and written a lot of different songs. But can you tell us? I think you're about to play us a song right now. What's the song called?
So this song is called "Your Hands and Feet." This is a song that I wrote at a time in my life when I knew in my heart that I was called to do music, but I wasn't answering that call within myself 110%. So that's where this song comes from.
All right. Well, anybody, here's your Hands and Feet by Mr. Justin Gambino.
Take my hand, take my heart, guide my steps to where you are, because I feel so far, I feel so far. I look to you in times of need, but where am I when you need me to be your hands and feet? I will follow you, my friend. I will follow you to the end. In my darkest nights, you'll be in my light. In my darkest days, you'll shine the way to where you want me to be. Like you spread your arms across that tree, I spread your love you gave to me to be your hands and feet, your hands and feet. There are times when I lose my way. There are moments when I'm led astray, away from you, yeah. But the rain washes away my footprints, so I can let go of where I've been and remember where I am. I will follow you, my friend. I will follow you to the end. In my darkest nights, you'll be in my light. In my darkest days, you'll shine the way to where you want me to be. Like you spread your arms across that tree, I spread your love you gave to me to be your hands and feet. Your hands and feet is what I'll be. I'll take you everywhere with me, and they will realize that it's not me they see. In my darkest nights, you'll be my light. In my darkest days, you'll shine the way, Lord, to where you want me to be. Like you spread your arms across that tree, I spread your love that you gave to me, yes, to be your hands and feet, your hands and feet. If I seek and find where I belong, I'll become your hands and feet. If I seek and find where I belong, I'll become your hands and feet. Yes. If we seek and find where we belong, we'll become his hands and feet. If we seek and find where we belong, we'll become his hands and feet.
Wonderful, man.
Thank you.
So I think it's very obvious, and I think you're very outspoken. You're very proud of the fact that you are a very faith-driven man, and your Christianity definitely plays a lot of a huge role in your life. What's some artists that you kind of draw inspiration from? Do you draw a lot from the Christian music world, or do you also kind of draw a lot from just a secular artist?
I draw a lot from all over the board, really.
Okay.
So I guess for me, one of my biggest inspirations is the lead singer of Switchfoot, John Foreman.
Yeah.
Him, the guys of Need to Breathe. I love Need to Breathe. Coming from the mainstream section, I love some Judah and the Lion, if you've ever listened to them.
I know Judah and the Lion.
Okay. Judah and the Lion, every once in a while, I will dip into like some harder rock, metal, or even rap sometimes.
Wow.
So I enjoy listening to NF. He's a, I don't know if I would actually consider him, I know he's a Christian,
Yeah.
but
He's a
I would
Christian
say
have to
that
play secular
yeah,
music.
yeah, he's totally just mainstream. Like he's really blown up on the mainstream. So I get a lot of inspiration from his story and just his lyrical writing. So really, I mean, my inspiration comes from all over the place, and then of course, like the various worship artists that I listen to, such as Jeremy Camp or Chris Tomlin, David Crowder. And not only do I pull inspiration from their music, but these are some of the guys that like I've actually have performed at festivals and met them backstage and got a taste of not only what they were like on stage, but off stage too, which is also an inspiration for me to not only to say one thing on stage, but also say the same thing off stage.
That's wonderful. Awesome. So I also I read that you went to college. I think it was in 2004, but you decided to quit and go into the Navy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's up with that? What was your biggest inspiration to try to do that?
So I remember a good friend of mine and we were actually talking about going into the Navy together, and this was around the time whenever I just graduated from high school, and honestly, I was starting to get into some trouble. And I remember my parents telling me, like, hey, we'll help you pay for college if you can stay out of trouble. Stay out of college and we'll help you get into college, you know, and do some college stuff. And, like, it was like a semester later. I was doing, like, some you know, music history and theory and stuff like that. And then algebra, you know. Woohoo! And
every musician's favorite.
Yeah.
Of course.
And so, but yeah, it was, you know, by the next semester, I was like, no, I mean, I'm going to go into the Navy. And so I went into the Navy, and that was 2005 whenever I left for boot camp, and did an 8-year enlistment with that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, first off, thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
And also, your time in the Navy, how did you kind of handle your love for music then? Did you kind of keep your hands in the music world, or did you kind of put that on hold while you did that?
I mean, you know, whenever it's something that has to do with, like, serving your country, you know, I think there's sacrifices that are made, you know, in all areas of life. And for me, like, I did kind of put it on the back burner. I was doing, you know, maybe some, like, YouTube covers here and there, you know, and I would play for my buddies in the Navy, and they would always encourage me. They would say, hey, man, you should really do something with your music. And around the time that it was coming up to the time where I had to make a decision, like, I'm either going to stay in for another 2, 4, or whatever years. I mean, 8 years in, I almost had half of a retirement. And,
Yeah.
You know, and so it was a big decision. But even whenever I was in the Navy, I found myself in Iraq in 2007 doing a tour over there. And there was a door open for me to lead worship at our chapel on base. And so I asked my dad to send me my guitar in the mail, which took probably a month to get there.
Wow.
And so even though I took different routes in life, it was very obvious to me that, like, music was a calling, and it was still, like, knocking at my back door, and just finally answered it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Did you happen to write anything during that time, or like do you find yourself that you write a lot about your experience in the Navy, or?
Yeah, I mean, there's some songs that I even wrote whenever I was in, like, I guess more of my reserve time. Whenever I was fulfilling my reserve time in the Navy, it was like the last 2 years was like what you would call an active reserve, where you would go for like a weekend out of the month. And so that's whenever I would say that I did a lot of the writing. Wrote a few songs whenever I was in active duty, but not as many whenever I had more time. But I mean, a lot of my music, even today, you know, I hear from a lot of veterans that they say, like, hey, this song really speaks to me. And there's actually been, you know, over the last 2 years or so, I've actually had a lot of opportunities to sing and share stories of my songs, or even stories from whenever I was in the service with veterans at like a veteran retreat or something like that. So that's been really cool.
Awesome, dude. So you have another song for us?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna put this one away.
Okay,
and
you go ahead and do it. I can help you out right there.
Thank you, man.
Teamwork, guys. Teamwork makes the dream work, you know, and also, you know, just
break this one
just
out.
A nice thing to do. All right, cool. So what's the song?
So this one is called "Journey Within My Soul," And I wrote this one facing the ocean. We were talking about
Yeah.
creation and nature, and I wrote this one back home, facing the beach. After I think it was a morning that I was leading worship, and I was about to embark on this 6-month tour and travel across the country. So, and it's also the title track off my latest record.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to hear it. So this is "Journey Within My Soul" by Justin Gambino.
Your love washes over me, crashes over me, like the waves crash onto the beach. Your love, it pursues me, it does not cease till it reaches the dry sandy shores of my soul. Take my life, take my heart. This is where I start. This is where I start. Guide my steps to where you are. Go on and take my hand. This is where I begin again. Your voice, it soothes my soul. I can hear you say that you won't let me go. Your whispers are like the wind, reminding me that you still call me. You call me your friend. Take my life and take my heart. This is where I start. This is where I start. Guide my steps to where you are. Go on and take my hand. This is where I begin again. For the 100th time again, I've let you down again. I've failed you again. But again you call me your friend, Lord. You call me your friend. You call me your friend. Yeah, you call me your friend. Take my life and take my heart. This is where I start. This is where I start. Guide my steps to where you are. And go on and take my hand. This is where I began. This is where I begin again. Go on and take my hand. This is where I began.
Awesome, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
So your music video for the song, I believe the song's called "Going Under." You pull out a coin at the end of that. I imagine most people watching you have seen the music video, they're fans of you and everything. But I believe it says, "Put on the full armor of God, then pray without ceasing."
Yeah.
Is this something that you just pulled in for the video? I know this is a very big biblical principle. I imagine this is something that you live by. But the coin in and of itself, like the physical coin, is that something that you like have a story behind, or is that
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So being in the Navy, one thing that that you see a lot of is whenever like what they would call a captain's coin. Whenever you are recognized for something or awarded something, usually it's like a really long process to go through the paperwork and, hey, this person deserves this award, and then it's got to be approved, and then they have this ceremony, and then they got to take pictures and all that stuff. With a captain's coin, a captain could walk right up to you, and he could say, like, hey, you've done a great job. I've noticed this, this, and this, and hand you this coin. And that's like usually a pretty big deal to get a captain's coin or a chief's coin or something like that. And so I was on the road last year in Idaho and staying with some good friends of mine. And we were all kind of hanging out after dinner outside by this river. And a friend of mine gave me this coin, and he told me this story about a friend of his that was passing away and that did pass, how he gave this guy a coin because he wasn't a believer. And so it was kind of like, I mean, as far as the music video goes, I wanted to create, well, long story short, he gave me a coin that he gave his friend that passed away. And he wanted to always remind me, like, hey, wherever you're at, carry this coin and remember to put on the full armor of God and pray always. And so for me, I actually wasn't planning on putting the coin in the music video until like it was probably a few days before we actually shot the music video. I came up with the idea of adding it in there because I wanted to create kind of do two different scenes, if you will. One from the spiritual realm and one from the physical realm. So, and there's one scene where I'm drowning. I'm like fighting to stay above water. And then it kind of goes over to this warehouse scene where that's kind of like my prayer time. That's where I'm praying through whatever I'm going through, where I like feel like I'm spiritually drowning. And so and then at the end of the scene, of course, I take it out of my pocket and I'm like, you see my eyes closed and I'm praying. And then once I close my hand with the coin in my hand, it goes back to the scene where it's like the spiritual realm, or whatever you want to relate to in your own life, where you feel like you're drowning, the prayer will always get you through it.
Heard that. As far as the song Going Under, what was a big thing for that? Like, where did you find yourself at personally when writing it, and like what did you feel like kind of drove you to write that?
So kind of going back to like that music video, I felt like it was a time where I was spiritually drowning. Like my head was underwater spiritually. I found myself in a transition, and it was, so like the first 7 years I was doing music, I was in a band. And maybe like the last, I don't know, few years of that, I felt like God was telling me that my music that came out of me, that poured out of me naturally, needed to be heard. And so, long story short, I released a single, which was the Your Hands and Feet single, and it got a lot of good response, and doors started opening up for my solo music, and doors started closing as far as the band goes, and that was really hard for me to grasp because I enjoyed being in the band, and it was scary for me to go out on my own as a soloist, and so it was just a time where I didn't know what was coming around the next corner, I guess you could say. And I felt like God already told me what I needed to do, but I kept on asking. And I in my experiences, like whenever God has told me to do something and then I don't do it right away, it's kind of like a delayed obedience. And then I ask, like, okay, is this what you want me to do? There's like no answer. It's kind of like going back to like that saying that people use is like the teacher's always quiet during the test, you know?
They say delayed obedience is disobedience.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Yeah. And I mean, and the crazy thing is, like, I remember going to a pastor friend of mine, like I going through that whole transition, I was really scared to even take a step. For me, it felt like I was on this edge of the edge of this cliff, and there's water down there, and it was like, okay, I just got to jump and like trust that God's gonna catch me. And I remember one of my mentors, he said, Justin, he said, I think you know what you need to do. My question for you is delayed obedience still obedience?
That's a very good question.
It was one of those questions that kind of, you think you know the answer right off the bat, and then it makes you think. And you're like, no.
Yeah.
No, it's not obedience.
It's a hard pill to swallow sometimes too, because I mean we're selfish as it is,
Yeah.
And you being a Christian, it's very hard to kind of give up those sacrifices for your belief system and everything, and have to surrender your kind of what you want. So as far as your songwriting process goes, just across the board, do you find yourself writing songs in a very similar fashion, or do you find yourself kind of switching up your process every now and then depending on what you're writing?
I think it's always a different thing. It's always a different process. Like sometimes I'll be writing the hook first, or sometimes I'll be writing the chorus, or sometimes I'll just be, playing a riff on my guitar, and it'll start that way. Whenever I was driving here today, about 3.5 hour drive, it was like I just was having these hooks come to me, and so like I like listening to the radio, or I like listening to music on my phone, sync to my van, but sometimes I'll just turn it off and just listen to the road, and just like I was writing some hooks on the way over here. So it just depends, I guess, in the moment.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about the song, so I guess you're going to play that song. So
Yeah.
So I'm going to help you out
I'm
again.
gonna switch out again.
All right, man. There you go. Musicians and their multiple instruments. I know.
Got roadies at Isaac over here.
Well, we're in this together. This is like 95% you. I barely even held it. But anyway, this is Going Under by Justin Gambino.
Have you given up hope? Have you lost your way and don't know where to go? 'Cause you don't know where to go. Are you lost at sea? Has the tide taken you further than the eye can see? You're never further than I can see. Calm the storm in your head. Calm the storm before it leaves you for dead. Take a deep breath, hold on tight. You're growing older. You're growing older. Yeah. Can you still feel me? Do you know deep down that I will never leave? 'Cause I will never leave. You may be going under. Your mind may start to wonder why I would stay. But no, I'm just a breath away from the storm in your soul. Calm the storm before you start to let go. Take a deep breath, hold on tight. You're growing older. You're growing older. You haven't lost me yet. 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 Don't you fret. You're going under. You're going under. There ain't no sea that's too deep that will keep you from my reach, that will keep you from my reach. There ain't no sin you could hide within that would take you away from me, child, that would take you away from me. You're growing older, but we're growing older together.
Wonderful, man.
Thank you, man.
Just keep bringing the hits. It's crazy. So all the people that are watching right now, how can they keep up to date with what you got going on? You got social media? You got a website? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, in this day and age, man, you know, the digital age, and you got to have social media to
Of course, yeah.
to get by, especially being an independent artist. Yeah, I got Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube channel, website, all that good stuff.
Okay, could you tell people what your Instagram name is?
It is at Justin Gambino Music.
Okay, cool.
So just like it sounds, Gambino.
Justin Gambino.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, if you guys like them, that'd be something fun to check out. Post photos and all that. And we tagged them in our Instagram story. So if you're watching live, you should look at that too.
You should go check it out.
Or you don't have to.
It was like a cool video that we did for the...
Yeah, that was totally all my idea. It was his idea. But before we end this up, what do you got working up in the future? Do you have anything exciting happening?
Yeah, actually, I'm working on recording a brand new project. It's been about, actually, I think it's this week that it's been a year since I've released my latest record. So I just released the song Going Under, which can be found on all platforms where you find, you know, music streaming or downloading, but also working on another full-length project. So working on new music, always writing, and probably if you're tuning in from wherever, I'm probably coming to a city near you, hopefully. So I'm on tour right now. So
heard that, man.
Yeah.
Well, before you go, I feel like we should at least play one more song, which is kind of plays into what I just said. What's the name of the song?
The song is called Before I Go.
How about that?
Yeah.
Oh no, but for real,
we didn't plan that. At all.
We didn't. I didn't organize the questions to where we didn't on that song. Can you tell everybody what the song's about real quick?
Yeah, it's actually a pretty heavy song, but it's probably one of my favorites off the newest project that I'm working on. So a guy that I served in the Navy with, his dad was diagnosed with cancer, and this is around the same time that he got orders to leave for Afghanistan. Mm-hmm. So his dad only had a few months left to live, and so he had to leave town, knowing that whenever he came back, probably wasn't going to see his dad again. And so I just kind of wrote this song from his dad's perspective, I guess you'd say. So that's why it's called Before I Go.
Yeah. So very powerful.
Thank you, man.
Beautiful concept, and no doubt a beautiful song. But anyway, guys, everybody that's watching, thank you so much for watching. I'm Isaac Anderson. Stay lovely. Here is Before I Go.
Waiting for this day, for what it seems so long. Watching the clock tick by, watching all our time as we say goodbye. I hate to watch our kids grow up from a distance. Just tell them when I'm gone, just to press on, 'cause I'll be home. But for you, I need you to understand. So let me tell you one thing before I go, that I love you and I need you. Don't let me go before I go. I know that it'll be hard not having me around. Just Just know that I'll be here to take away your fears when you're down. Just a breath away, though far away I seem. But tonight I'll be seeing you in your dreams. So let me tell you one thing before I go, that I love you, I need you, don't let me go before I go. So let me tell you one thing before I go, that I love you, I need you, yes. Don't let me go before I go.